students, a warm welcome back to my channel Krida Educare. I'm back with the third part of your chapter, the cell. We had already covered till cell structure in my previous video. Today I will cover the topic cell organelle in this video, as well as I will provide you the link for the previous two videos in the description box. Students, please go through the video till the end to understand the content properly and clearly, and please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Let's move to our today's topic, that is our cell organelles. Before coming to the main topic, cell organelles, let's have a quick review of the basic cell structure that I have taught you in my previous video. So the basic cell structure is basically divided into three, that is the cell membrane, the outer covering, the cytoplasm, the jelly-like fluid, and the nucleus, the chief controlling unit. We have already learned about them in detail in my previous video. The nucleus is the basic structure of nucleus is again divided into four basic components, that is your nuclear membrane, then your nuclear sap, nucleolus, and the chromatin. Now here comes the jelly fluid like substance, cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, basically there are two things suspended in it. They are cell organelles and the cell inclusions. Today we will deal with this cell organelle only. The cell, although I have explained you the key difference between the cell organelle and the cell inclusion in my previous video, but let's see it once again. See, the cell inclusions are the non-living chemical compounds and the byproducts of cellular metabolism. So, by this line we can say that whatever the function the cell is performing by the help of cellular machines, or we can say by the help of cell organelles, it releases certain chemical compounds, certain byproducts, and those byproducts are non-living in nature and they are known as cell inclusions. For example, they include reserve storage materials, like your starch, oil, and as well as inorganic crystals, like your silica, calcium carbonate, calcium oxalate, and many more, as well as certain secretory granules also, and secretory granules. So all this type of things are already suspended in the cytoplasm and they are termed as cell inclusion. Now our today's topic, cell organelles. So cell organelles are the living component and the subcomponents of the cell, or we can say it is a cellular machine. By the help of the cell organelles only, by the help of the cellular machines, the cell is able to perform various functions. The cell is able to perform different activities that is necessary for the cell to grow. So what are those cellular machines? They are basically your mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, ribosome, lysosome, centrosome, centriole, plastids, vacuole. We will deal with them one by one. Now the thing is that the basic structure of the cell organelles are not visible under the light microscope. They are not visible under the light microscope. Not visible under light microscope. These were known and understood only after the technique of electron microscope. This came into existence and are properly understood and known to us due to the discovery of electron microscope. and the structure which are revealed after seeing from the electron microscope are known as the ultrastructure. So we will deal with one by one of all this organelles ultrastructure. We will deal with the ultrastructure of all these organelles one by one. So the first one is our mitochondria. Firstly we will take the mitochondria. So our first organelle, mitochondria, is basically a rod-shaped structure that is surrounded by double membrane. You can see the double membrane here in the figure. This is the one membrane and this is the one membrane. So this is the inner membrane and this is the outer membrane. So it is a double membrane structure. It is a rod-shaped, rod-like structure it is having. The outer membrane is smooth. The outer membrane is very smooth, whereas the inner membrane had a finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are known as your cristae, and inside of this is your matrix. Mitochondria are the site of cellular respiration. The respiration, that is the breaking down of food, and release of energy. So breaking down of food and release of energy is done at this cell organelle. So the energy is released in the form of ATP, that is your adenosine triphosphate. For this reason also the mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of cell. As well as it is present in both plant as well as animal cell. So this is all about your mitochondria. It is a rod-shaped structure, double membrane. The outer membrane is smooth, whereas the inner membrane has a finger-like projections. They are known as cristae. Inside the cristae is a matrix, and the mitochondria are the site of cellular respiration, and thus release the energy in the form of ATP. And due to this reason, it is also known as the powerhouse of cell, and it is present in both plants and animal cell. So this is all about your mitochondria. And now we will move to the second one. The second organelle which we are going to deal is our endoplasmic reticulum. In short, it is also known as your ER. Okay. So you can see in this figure, ER is an irregular network of membranes. It is a network of membrane. They are irregular in shape and it is a double wall. I have shown you with two colors. The red color as a one wall and the black color as the another wall. And in the double membrane, they had a fluid filled in its lumen. You can see it like this. It is something like this. This is one membrane. This is your another membrane, and there is a space, that white space you are seeing in your screen, that is the lumen, and that lumen is filled with a fluid. So it is a double wall, and the fluid is filled in the lumen. Depending on the presence of the ribosome, this granular-like structure which you are seeing is known as the ribosome, and depending on the presence of this ribosome, the endoplasmic reticulum is of two types, that is your RER and SER. RER, that is your rough ER, and SER, that is your smooth ER. RER is your that portion in which the ribosomes are present. The surface in the ER on which the ribosomes are present are known as your rough endoplasmic reticulum, whereas that surface of the endoplasmic reticulum on which this granular structure ribosome is not present, that is known as your smooth ER. Ribosome present, that is your RER. Then your ribosome absent, that is your SER. Okay, so depending on the presence of the ribosome, there are two types, RER and SER. Now, this endoplasmic reticulum provides the mechanical support to the cell. Endoplasmic reticulum provides the mechanical support to the cell, mechanical support to the cell. This endoplasmic reticulum provides the mechanical support to the cell because at one end it is connected to the nuclear membrane. You can see it is a nucleus, this green one, and outside it has a nuclear membrane, and the endoplasmic reticulum is attached to this nuclear membrane. So at one end it is attached to the nuclear membrane, and to the other end it is attached to the cell membrane. To other end it is attached to the cell membrane. So due to this, it provides the mechanical support to the cell. As well as the endoplasmic reticulum is the site of protein and fat synthesis. Lipids and proteins are synthesized here. It is a site of protein and fat synthesis, and the protein and the fat which is synthesized here is used by the cell during the cell division. The cell membranes and the cell organelles use it during the cell division. The protein and the fat which are synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum are used by the cell during the cell division. So this is basically about your endoplasmic reticulum. Now we will go with the third organelle, and your third organelle is your Golgi body. Golgi bodies are basically smooth, flattened, membrane-bound, sac-like tubular structure. You can see in this diagram also they are flattened and sac-like, tube-like structures which are kept one above the another. And this sac-like structures which are kept one above the another is known as your cristae. The smaller Golgi vesicles in the plants are known as dictysosome, and they are the secretory organelles of the cell. You can see here the vesicles present on the surface of the Golgi bodies. They are the secretory vesicles because they are the secretory organs of the cell. They help in the secretion of your enzymes and hormones. They help in the secretion of enzymes and hormones. That's why they are known as the secretory organ of the cell. So this is about the Golgi bodies. They are present both in plant and animal cell. Both plant and animal cell. Now the next organelle, that is our ribosome. So ribosome are the tiny membraneless. They don't have the membrane. They are the tiny membraneless granular structures present in the cytoplasm. When I was dealing with the endoplasmic reticulum, I have shown you the small tiny structures present on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, and due to that it was known as RER. So this is the basic structure of this tiny granular structure. They have the two subunits, the large subunit and the small subunit. So basically in prokaryotes and eukaryotes they are different. In prokaryote the ribosome is your 70S, whereas in eukaryotes the ribosome is our 80S. So the basic structure is that it has a large subunit and the small subunit. So in eukaryote the large subunit is our 60S and the small subunit is our 40S. In eukaryote the large subunit is 60S and the small subunit is 40S, whereas in prokaryotes the large subunit is our 50S and the small subunit is our 30S. So this is the basic structure. It has a large subunit as well as the small subunit, and in prokaryotes and eukaryotes they are different according to the Swedberg coefficient. Swedberg coefficient. The Swedberg coefficient. Basically the ribosomes are rich in RNA and protein. They are rich in protein because they are the site of protein synthesis in plant. They are rich in protein because they are the site of protein synthesis. They are the site of protein synthesis in plant. Both free ribosome, which is free floating in the cytoplasm, and the membrane bond which is present on the surface of the ER, endoplasmic reticulum, both free as well as the membrane bound, both free and the membrane bound ribosomes are responsible for the protein synthesis. So that's why they are known as the site of protein synthesis. This is all about your ribosome. Now we will move with the another one, that is our lysosome, our fifth organelle, lysosome. So the lysosomes are basically the small spherical body surrounded by single-walled membrane. Single-walled membrane. You can see that lysosomes, they are spherical, small, single-walled membrane. They consist of digestive enzyme. They have a digestive enzyme in there, and this digestive enzyme is capable of digesting the organic material. For this reason, it is known as the digestive bags of the cell. For this reason, it is known as the digestive bag of cell. And you can see in this diagram also, see, this is a lysosome. It is having the powerful digestive enzyme, and this is a vesicle which is containing the damaged mitochondria, a mitochondria which is damaged. This vesicle is having that. Now this lysosome it fuses with the vesicle containing the damaged mitochondria, and that there is a digestion of this damaged mitochondria. So for the due to this is known as the digestive bag of the cell. Even the lysosome is capable of lysing the entire cell. It is capable of lysing the entire cell. This entire cell can also be digested or lysed by this lysosome. For this reason, it is known as the suicidal bag. Suicidal bag of cell. Due to this, lysosomes can destroy the foreign bodies, such as your bacteria, damaged cell, etc. As well as during prolonged starvation, that is when there is not sufficient amount of food you have taken for a long time, then the stored food can be digested by this lysosome to provide you with the energy for the cellular metabolism. So the stored food will be digested by this lysosome when you are in a prolonged starvation. That means for a long time we have not taken any food. So this the stored food will be digested by the lysosome to provide the energy for cellular metabolism. This is all about our lysosome. Now we will move with the another organelle, that is our centrosome and the centriole. Basically, these are the small structures situated close to the nucleus. So, the centrosome is a small structure situated very close to the nucleus. It is only present in the animal cell. In plant cells, these are known as the functions performed by them are performed by your polar caps. In plant cells, centrosome is absent, and in place of centrosome, there are polar caps which perform the functions of the centrosome in the plant cell. Now, in centrosome, there are a pair of granular-like structures. These are known as your centriole, and this centriole is only responsible for the cell division. And this is during the time of cell division, they radiate the thread or rays called the ester, something like this. So these are your esters. What happens? See, the centrosomes are also responsible for the formation of spindle fiber during the cell division. Formation of spindle fiber during cell division. When the cell divide, so there is a formation of spindle fibers. So those spindle fibers are formed due to this centrosomes and the centriole. Spindle fibers are basically necessary to equally divide the chromosomes of the parent cell into two daughter cells. Spindle fibers are responsible. Spindle fiber is very necessary to equally divide the cell, parental cell, into two daughter cell. So the equally divide the chromosome, equally divide the chromosome of parental cell. So inside the nucleus there is a chromatin material, in that there is a chromosome. Those chromosomes during the cell division are equally divided by the formation of this spindle fibers. You can see like this. Suppose this is centromere and they are the chromosome. So during the cell division, they help in the formation of spindle fibers. These are your spindle fibers. They help in the formation of spindle fibers for the division of the cell. So this is basically about your centrosome and the centriole. They are basically a small body situated very close to the nucleus. In plants, they are basically present in the animal cell. In plant cells, centrosome are absent and its function is performed by the polar cap. In centrosome, they are the pair of granular structure. They are known as the centriole. And centriole during the cell division forms into radiating threads or rays called aster. Here you will see the aster formation like this. And the basic function of the centrosome and centriole is the formation of the spindle fiber during the cell division. This is about the centrosome and centriole. Now we will move with the another organelle, that is your plastid, which is basically present only in the plant cell. Plastids are basically the largest cytoplasmic organelles. They are the largest cytoplasmic organelles found in the plant cell. They are basically only found in the plant cell. They are not present in the animal cell. And the photosynthetic microorganism. Apart from the plant cell, they are present in the photosynthetic microorganism. On the basis of pigments, they are of three types. That is your chloroplast. The most important of the three plastids, it is your chloroplast, then the chromoplast and the leucoplast. Chloroplasts are the green plastids and the chromoplasts are the colored plastids. They provide due to the chromoplast they are responsible for the characteristic color to the flowers, then your leaves, then fruits. The color to the flowers, fruits and the leaves are due to your chromoplast. They are the colored plastids. And the next one is your leucoplast. They are the colorless plastid and they store the starch. Among them, the most important is your chloroplast. Chloroplast is also known as the kitchen of the cell because they are responsible for the photosynthesis. As they have a pigment known as chlorophyll. So this pigment chlorophyll traps the solar energy and helps in the process of photosynthesis. That is, plant prepare their own food by the help of this chloroplast, and that's why they are known as the kitchen of the cell. They are the site of photosynthesis. And this plastid is basically oval. It can be spherical. It can be dish shaped. And it is a double membranous structure. It can be oval, spherical, then your dish shaped. and it is a double membranous structure. Double membrane structure. And there's a background of the matrix there, that is known as your stroma, and this portion, this is your grana. And these plastids have a DNA, and they have a capacity to divide. The chloroplast is basically having the DNA and have the capacity to divide. This is about your plastid, or basically the chloroplast. They are the most important organelle of the plant cell. The last organelle is our vacuole. They are the fluid filled cavity present in the cytoplasm. They are present in the cytoplasm. They are the fluid filled, and the watery fluid is known as, the watery fluid of the vacuole is known as your cell sap, and they are surrounded by a single membrane structure that is known as your tonoplast. And this vacuole in mature cell, it occupies up to 90% in mature cell, mature plant, and they are also basically present in only in the plant cell, and in animal cell they are absent, and if present they are very small and temporary. And in the plant cell, if the plant cell is very mature, then they occupies up to 90% of the volume of the cell. They occupy the 90% of the volume of the cell. And the basic function of this vacuole is that it provides the turgidity and the rigidity to the cell. When there is a water full in the vacuole, that is the cell sap is full, the plant remain very fresh, turgid and rigid, and they also act as a storehouse of various minerals, salts, storehouse of various minerals, your salts, pigments, as well as waste products. This is all about the last organelle, that is your vacuole, and with this we end our today's lecture, that is on the cell organelle. We will be back soon with the fourth part of this chapter. In that we will be dealing with the difference between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, and the difference between the plant cell and the animal cell. So do watch the video carefully, and please press the bell icon for the latest updates. Thank you.